Hey, do you have some debt that you need to pay off? It could be a mortgage, it could be your cars, whatever. Student debt, all of that stuff. Do you have some debt that you want to pay off so that you can create more freedom in your life? If so, this episode is for you. I'm Angela Barnard. This is the Intentional Mind Podcast, and we're all about helping you intentionally design your life. And this episode is going to be kind of a blend of me just sharing some things with you right off the top of my mind about money and having more financial abundance, but also some clips from an interview that I did recently that I participated in. I was a guest on a show, and it was really about asking me about my own debt journey and how my husband and I quickly paid off a lot of debt. And the numbers don't really matter so much. People are like, how much did you pay off in what short period of time? And I feel like that's a lot of ego stuff there. What really matters most is that we became people that were intentional with our money. We became people that I would say do have financial freedom in a lot of ways. Of course, we still need to work, but we do have the finances that allow us to travel and really just enjoy our life. For me to do work that I don't absolutely hate, because it's like now it's like I don't need that income. It's more about I'm doing it because I love it. And it's such a good feeling, and I really want to help people get into that same place. So, I wanted to share this episode with you just so that you can hear a little bit about my journey and see if you get anything out of what I shared in that interview that I did. All right, let's get to just the clip of the interview. Let's start there. Oh, but wait, let it be known that the audio is going to be a little weird because I think my internet connection was kind of rough that day. But either way, like I just listened to it and I'm like, yeah, this is super helpful. I don't care how it is. I'm going to share it. So here we go. So, anyways, we have all this debt, and it was we at first we didn't know actually how much we had because we just knew we had a lot, and it was like really overwhelming to think about. So I kind of went through this process, and I turned it into an acronym to make it easier for everyone to understand, like how I got to the point of being so overwhelmed with so much student debt. Just thinking about it made me want to throw up, to actually paying it off and having the freedom now to use that, what I was paying on student loans, to travel and, invest in programs and ways I want to learn and all that. So it the acronym we're using is alpaca. So think of it as like the cousin to the llama, alpaca. So anyways, the first step was awareness, to actually get clear and take a look at that wound that I would say I had. Because a lot of times, like, I've had friends that will be in an enormous amount of debt, and when I start even mentioning it to them, they're like, "I don't even want to talk about it. Like, this is overwhelming. I don't even really know. Like, just let's not talk about this." And it gets worse and worse and worse. So it makes me kind of think about, like, you have this wound that's like bleeding and all of that, but yet you don't want to take a look at it. You just keep ignoring it. So my first step was getting clear, like, we got to take a look at this. Let's get awareness around where we're at. So we spent some time and just went through all the numbers, got an idea of what that debt was. And then we went on to the L part, which is learn. And that was, now that I'm aware of how much debt I have, I need to learn how to get rid of that debt. And I need to even learn around, like, well, what is my even vision? So once I did that, I asked the questions that we kind of talked about earlier. It's like, who do I want to be? And I decided I wanted to be someone who was like a philanthropist, who had extra money to travel anywhere whenever they want, all of that. So that's the kind of person I want to be. So then I'm thinking, like, what do I need to think? How do I need to act? What does my environment need to be like? All of that stuff, habits. So how do I get the answers to that question? Is I look at someone who is that. So when I thought about philanthropist, I can do whatever, travel anywhere I want. The first person that popped in my mind was like Dave Ramsey, right? Because everybody knows the guru of like paying off debt. So all right, so Big Dave pops in my mind, and I'm thinking, I need to learn from him, right? Because he has what I would desire. So we were gifted financial peace during our as a wedding gift, which is a phenomenal wedding gift. But we got that, but we didn't dive into it. So we had it for a while. And I'm like, okay, it's time for us to dive into it. So I ended up diving into that, and we did it once by ourselves, and we did it twice in actual like church groups.
because changing your mental programming, like changing your ways and your habits, like it's not super easy to do. So like it's pretty normal to do something like that multiple times and keep working with it. So we did that. That was the learn kind of thing. The plan aspect for the P was basically, now that I've learned the things that I need to do and the strategies and all of that, I need to actually make a plan to make it happen. And then that was asking questions around like, who is going to pay attention to how we're spending? What does that even look like? What exactly are we going to do? So one of the most impactful things for us was Dave's method of the snowball method. um, for those that don't know what that is, it's basically like you target the smallest or your smallest kind of area of debt. And then once that's done, you move on to the next one. It's like the snowball effect. So you take the money you're paying towards that smaller and then you add it to the other one. And we did that. So we targeted um, was my car. My car was the first thing that needed to be paid off. So we paid off that. We moved the car payment to my student loans because my student loans were less than my husband's. We paid off my student loans and then we took both those payments and started paying off his student loans. So, and that's how we kind of really got to the point of where we are with a lot of stuff in between. So the act, or the A, the next A in the alpaca acronym is act. So actually going out and doing the thing. And then the C is being consistent with it. So like I said before, it's not always the easiest process because you're not used to living your life this way. So if you fall off the bandwagon, you get back on. And there was a lot of that would happen. And just kind of like, as you start to pay more attention to your money, you learn more about your habits and you get more awareness and you constantly shift. And I just always just practice the mantra of I choose progress over perfection. So that was allowing me to be consistent through the process. And then the last A is assess. So then I made this habit where I would be consistent with assessing like what it looks like. Am I still on the path to where I want to be on? And that looked like for me making it a priority like in my calendar. So I picked Mondays. Mondays were Money Monday. And I set a specific time that I would look again at the budget and kind of just see like, are we on the path that we want to be on? And it wasn't just like I didn't just leave it for once a week. I mean, I try to pay attention throughout the week, but at the very least, once a week, I'm looking at it and then kind of like wrapping up the month. And I do that still now. That's something that I say it's a habit that I programmed, and I'm continuous with it every single Monday morning.
All right, stopping right here. Do you have a designated time that you pay attention to your money? So that you check and see, is the way that you're spending your money in alignment with your values? Is it in alignment with who you want to be? This is really important. This gives you more freedom, and you get really excited when you are spending your money in a way that's in alignment with your values. And this habit of evaluation, remember we talked about this episodes ago, how important evaluation is. This habit of evaluation will help you see what areas you need to change. It'll also allow you to celebrate the progress that you're making. And that progress is what keeps you motivated to keep going. You need to be seeing that progress. Okay, so let's real quick recap the alpaca method. So A was standing for awareness. Just you got to spend some time looking at your money as a whole. And I recommend that you separate it into kind of major categories and expenses and just get an idea of where the money is going. And then this will give you a starting point so you can kind of figure out what makes sense for budgets for you in different areas, things like that. So awareness, the L stands for learning what it is that you need to do. What methods are going to work best for you? Who do you want to learn from to set up your system? Pick who that person is. Sometimes you just have a friend that's really good with money and they have a template and you can borrow that template from them, you know? And then the P, plan. You got to plan how you're going to do this. What are you going to be using for spending money? Is it going to be a certain card that you use? Is there an app that you're going to be using? When? All of that stuff. You need to plan. And then the A is act. Actually do it. Because a lot of us can be the planners. Like we plan all day long. But actually doing it, that's where it can be hard. So you got to develop these habits around it. And the C, of course, you got to be consistent. That is how we program habits. That is how we become a new, different kind of person. We talk about this all the time on the show, right? The consistency. And sometimes to be consistent, we know that accountability can be really helpful to you. So if that's your significant other and you're talking about holding each other accountable, or you get involved in a group, the reason why Dave Ramsey's course, Financial Peace, is so helpful to people, one of the major reasons I believe, is because of the community that's involved with it and the accountability piece. I think that's what really helps it be successful. That's like anything, right? We know that. So who are your people? Who's going to be helping you be accountable to how you spend your money? Be thinking about it. And the last A, is assessing. So you got to be continuously evaluating and assessing, and you might have to tweak things. A lot of times people can get really frustrated with their budget. They're like, oh, I don't know, because we have different amounts coming in at different times, and this and that, and or this is happening, and this was a weird month, and that's fine. You just got to pay attention. It's the point is that at least you have answers to know why this happened this way. Like, we travel all the time, so sometimes our food budget is kind of weird. It's different from like when we go out to eat and we're gone to when we're home, and then when I'm gone for work traveling. So it can be inconsistent, but roughly, like, I know that my goal is to spend X amount of dollars on food. And where are we at with that? Was it a little more this month because we went on this vacation thing? Did we go out to eat a lot more? But at least I know and I can explain what's happening there. And I get really excited, I'm just a nerd though, when we have spent a lot less than what I had thought we would. And it's like, cool, what else can I do with this money? Maybe I could, give to something else that's on my heart, send someone a gift and brighten up their day. And it's done very intentionally. I feel like doing this creates more freedom in my life. Structure creates freedom. I'm going to say it again on the show. So alpaca method mixed with what? What do you think I'm about to say right now?
And visioning. Visioning was a big part of it, because we visioned ourselves being able to travel like when we wanted, what it would be like if we had that money that we were paying towards student loans to use for travel. Like, where would we go? We kept that vision in our mind. I even would repeat to myself over and over, I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy. Like, that's like my mantra even today. And to me, everyone has their own definition of wealth. But for me, I thought, if someone who is wealthy, this is my own definition, they're not carrying a bunch of debt with them. So instead of focusing too on also having the mantra of I'm debt free, like when you think about that, your mind goes to debt, debt, debt. And I don't want to be like manifesting more debt in my life. I don't want that word to be in my mind so much. So I switched it more to that kind of positive state.
All right, so not only are you going to get some awareness around how you're spending your money and checking to see if it's really in alignment with your values. And everybody values different things. Let's just say that straight up. I know for my husband and I, we really value experiences more than things. Some people really like to have really nice things, and that's fine. But just make sure that you're happy with the way that you're spending your money. And if you want more of it, then it starts with being responsible, and I would say, I guess intentional would be a better word, with the money that you have now. I think that when you do well with the money you have now, God sees that and wants to bless you more. That's just my personal belief. All right, and then you got to get some mantra, some kind of message that you can program in your mind related to the kind of person you want to be, related to your relationship with money. Like I had, I'm happy, healthy, and wealthy. It could be like, I am intentional with my money. And then you think, if I'm the person that's intentional with my money, does that mean I spend $6 at Starbucks every day? Does that, you got to answer that yourself. Some people are like, that's my thing I'm budgeting for. And that's cool. I just want you to be intentional about it. Because there's some things that we all love. Like some of us geek out about books. Like I love getting new books. Some of us love to go get coffee with our friends. And that's awesome. Make sure that you set up a budget for that, and you will feel so much more freedom around it. You just got to be intentional. That's with anything that you want to improve in your life. You got to be intentional. You got to develop the habits around it. And that first takes you looking at it and seeing how it is already is, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Because a lot of us, we just don't zoom in on the thing that we might be struggling with, because we're like, oh, I don't want to look at that. Like even our health and things like that. But you got to. It all starts there. And then from there, you can improve. Don't be shaming yourself over it. And just be like, okay, now that I know everything I know, what do I want to do differently? That's another one of my favorite coaching questions, right? All right, one last thing.
And I'm very much about identity-based goals. The reason why is I go back to, like, we can get so attached to the number and being like, it needs to be this way, it needs to happen in this 1 year if I'm creating this vision board. It's like, no, but what you really care about is actually becoming that person. And get attached to that. Get attached to who you're becoming, not the end results. Because everything we do anyways, we do it because we think it's gonna make us feel a certain way. So that's really what we're chasing. We're just chasing a feeling. And if we're trying to pay off debt right now, you can get wrapped in numbers all day long, but what are you chasing? You're chasing the fact that you want to feel more abundance. You wanna have more freedom in your life to do whatever it is that's most important to you. So it's like, how do you feel those feelings right now? And I'll tell you one way to get freedom is to get some structure around how you're spending money. Structure creates freedom. A lot of people don't think that and they want to like hide away from the structure. Like, no, I don't want to like constrain my life and have it all structured. It's like, that's exactly what's going to give you freedom.
All right, you're getting yourself some awareness, a mantra, and a structure so that you can have that freedom. All right, if you like this episode, let me know and connect with us over on our Facebook groups, The Intentionalists, or on Instagram. Anyways, I'm just so excited that you're here. And if you haven't left a review, what the heck? Girl, get on it, please, for me. That's so helpful. Have an awesome week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.